Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video we're going to go over what to do when you find a chord that you really like and you're trying to write a song, you're trying to come up with a chord progression and you don't know where to go next. So here in my first example it was an A minor. So here's the things I'm going to consider. And right now I'm in open position, right? This is an open chord. I'm going to consider A minor. What key is that chord in? It's in a few different keys. In open position, generally, it's the second chord in the key of G, and it's the sixth chord in the key of C. So basically, when I see one chord, I see a collection of chords. So I want to teach you how to do that same thing. So that's going to be one method. We're going to go over how to find that in open position, as well as elsewhere on the neck, how to know the distances of the chords. And then the second way that I'm going to show you is purely by ear. And this is something I've been doing more and more as my ear develops. Whereas in the beginning, I might have relied more on just common knowledge and theory and stuff, but it all works together and we're going to go over all of it. Before we get into the lesson, please go ahead and click subscribe so that you get all of the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. And if you want to be notified of each new lesson, be sure to tap the bell. All right, so here's the thing. Every song is in a key. Now, not every song, some are really avant-garde and weird, but the vast majority of songs are in a key. And what that means is that we have a collection of notes. So let's say we're in the key of C. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We've got 7 notes and then back to do, right? And each one of those notes, in this case C, D, E, F, G, A, B, has a chord that goes along with it. So the first chord is C major, then we get from C to D, which is D minor, then we get from D to E, which is E minor, then we get from E to F, which is F major, oops, F major 7, that sounds nice, yeah. Then we get to G, which is G major, then we get to A, which is A minor, then we get to B, which is B diminished, and then we get back to C. Now, the B diminished, we're not going to worry about that. That was the 7th chord in the scale. We're really going to just think about the first 6. And here's the rule of thumb, is that 1, 4, and 5, the 1st, 4th, and 5th are major chords. The 2nd, the 3rd, and the 6th are minor chords. So you got 3 major, 3 minor. Pretty easy to remember, right? 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor. So the fact that I started on A minor, if I want to relate that back to the key of C, it would be the 6th chord in C. 6, 7, 1. Again, we're not going to think about 7, but just 6, 1. So now, if I want to find other chords that work with that A minor, I'm just going to think key of C or A minor. They're basically the same key, same notes, same chords. The 6th note or 6th chord in a major key is what we call the relative minor. Basically, the relative minor and the relative major, they have the same chords and the same notes. So when I see A minor, I think of C. So I know what else will definitely work with A minor. All the chords in the key of C or A minor. So if this is 6, and I said we're going to skip 7, we have A minor, we have C, we have D minor, we have E minor, we have F, we have G, and back to A minor. So watch, I'm just going to randomly throw together chords from that key, and they're all going to work just fine. So I could just experiment with that. But the key was that I knew which chords belong in that key and what it's a part of. Now, that A minor might have also been the 2nd chord in the key of G, right? Because like I said, the 2, the 3, and the 6 are minor. So let's pretend that that A minor was part of the key of G. Then I know in G I have G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor. Cool, so now let me just start on the A minor and then experiment with the key of G. I love that, that sounds cool. So different kind of feel still works. It could also be the third chord in the key of F, but if I'm in open position, F is not one of the keys that we use in open position. In open position, we use G, we use C, we sometimes use A, we sometimes use E, we sometimes use D, but we definitely don't use the key of F as an open position key. So what you want to do as a beginning songwriter is master the key of G, master the key of C, try to also master the key of A in open position. The thing with the key of A is really the 1, 4, 5, A, D, E, D, A is really popular, you know, like. But if we get into the minor chords, we got B minor, C sharp minor. You know, if it's a song with some minor chords, I wouldn't put it default in the key of A. G and C are really great, and then just master those chords. And then, if you have a capo, you can just move it around if you want to get a different sound, and still play in the key of G and C and use those chords, right? All right, so that is kind of how to find the chords that work in the open position. As far as the rest of the fretboard, you want to understand this relationship right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we start on any one note, we can get to the second note in that key by just going up 2 frets, called a whole step. Third note, up 2 frets, then the fourth, right below the first one, then the fifth, up 2 frets, and the sixth. So it's perfectly symmetrical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this works no matter where you start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I use any of those root notes to start, let's say I started on F. Like I said, the 1 chord is major. 1, 2, minor, 3, minor, 4, major, 5, major, 6, minor. Right? And I need to know my E-shaped bar chords. Like this, it looks like an E. If I took an E chord, moved it up 1 fret and bar my first finger, it's an F chord, but it's called an E shape because it looks like an E, right? So that's my E shaped bar chord, major. Then if I take my second finger away, E shaped bar chord, minor. And then here, this is my A shaped bar chord, because if this is an A minor, say here, or an A major, and I slide it up 1 fret and add my first finger in place of the fret, in place of the nut, it looks like an A chord, right? So in this sequence, 1, 4, 5 is what we call an L shape, and there's a whole bunch of lessons in the Guitar Tricks Fundamentals course about understanding this L shape. So 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. It's like an L, right? So 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. Those are our major chords. And then our minor, 2, 3, and 6 right down here. 2, 3, 6. It's like a reverse L. Do, 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 2, 3, 6, and the 1, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome, right? Now there are other ways. That's the most basic way. But once you define what those chords are, okay, so in the key of F, I have F, G, A, B flat, C, and D, right? As long as I know, okay, F major, G minor, A minor, B flat, major, C major, D minor. Now I could play those in other places, but I've defined what the chords were, and I didn't have to look online. As long as I know these intervals and these shapes, I could figure it out for myself, right? Now let's say we started in the key of A sharp. Okay, so A sharp is on the 6th fret of the low E string. Now there's something else we can do. We can go down to 6 by going down 3 frets. 1, 6, 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. Right? So 6 can also be down 3 frets. And then we still have the 1, 4, 5, and the 1, 2, 3. But we could also do 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have some options. We can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 6, 1. So we can go down to 6, and then 2 is right below 6, 3 is up 2 frets, and then 4 is right below. So now we have a little more of a compact shape. 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is right up there. So I'm going to show you using this method, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this method, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 6, 1, 4, 5. So it's a little different. But check it out. Let's say I wanted to just do a 1, 6, 4, 5 progression. I can go 1, 6, 4, 5, or I can go 1, 6, 4, 5, or let's say I did 1, 2, 3, 6. Now I can go 1, 2, 3, 6. Right? So you want to be able to go in that direction and that direction, but no matter what key, the shape and the distances is the same. So you want to understand the chord structure theory, 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7 diminished, but we don't really use that one, and then be able to apply that on the body of the fretboard using the shapes, the L. So if we start on A sharp or B flat like we were, 1, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then understanding if this is our home note, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, or from here, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, 6, 7, 1. Okay, that's how to always find safe chords that work, right? Especially when you're starting out. This is basic diatonic harmony. But then you might just want to use your ear. This is something I like to do. Let's say we start on an A minor, like we did earlier. You want to hum that bass note. La, hum some notes in that chord. La, 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 la. Then I want you to imagine what chord might come next. La, la. I'm hearing that note. La be the next note of as the bass note, which is what the chord is named after. So from ba, I'm hearing la. So I think that's a C. It is a C, yeah. You might not know that, that's fine. But you want to then find what is that note that occurred to me naturally from my ear, not from a process of theory thinking. La, that's what came to me. Then I think, do I want C major or minor? Let's see, so la, la, that's minor. I was thinking more major, la, la. Okay, so now I got two chords and I thought of the second one by ear. La, la, la. Now I'm gonna try to imagine the next one. La, la. So now I'm gonna find that note. Oh, that's an F. I could play the F down here. La. Okay, so now I've got A minor, C, La. Love it. So this is purely by ear. La, la. Ooh, then I heard an E. Ooh, but I don't really, let's see. La, la. I'm hearing this note. Ah, E7 or E major. And that brings me to one last point. If you're thinking relative minor, like the key of A minor, you sometimes might want to make the chord that is 5 chords away from that chord a major chord instead of a minor chord, or more specifically a 7th chord. So in other words, it's the 3 chord if we're thinking in terms of major. So 6 to 3 to the E minor if we're thinking key of C major. A minor is 6, E minor is usually 3. We take that 3 chord and we make it a dominant 7 or a major chord because it resolves nicely back to the root of the 6 chord. So if the 6 chord is our root, we might want to make the 3 chord a major chord or a dominant 7 chord. So I'm going to play E7. So here's my whole chord progression that I heard by ear. Yeah, that's what I had. So A minor, C, F to E7. All right, everybody, so I hope you understand the process there for figuring out chord progression. So one is understanding diatonic harmony, how every key has 7 chords. How do you find, based on one chord, the rest of the chords? Well, you could either think of that one chord, if it's minor, as the 6 chord in a major key, or you could think of it as the 2 or 3 chord in a major key. And then if it's a major chord, you could think of it as the 1, the 4, or the 5 in a major key. Now, typically, if you start on a minor chord, to keep things simple, think of that as the 6 chord. If you start on a major chord, think of that as the 1 chord. So in other words, if I start on A minor, just think key of A minor, which is the same as key of C, because it's the 6th chord in the key of C. If I start on a C, just think of it as the key of C, and this will make it really simple and get rid of that option overload, right? If you start on a minor chord, think of it as the 6th chord in its relative major key. If you start on a major chord, think of it as the 1 chord. Start right there and start to see the patterns. If you're up on the neck, if this is our major chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If this is our minor chord, then we have 6, 1, right? 6, 1, 4, 5, 4, 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 1, 6. All right, everybody, we have a couple related lessons you might want to check out. There's one on the Nashville number system. So hopefully we can link that above. Otherwise, just otherwise just put in the search engine Guitar Tricks Nashville number system. And like I said, in the fundamentals course on Guitar Tricks, there's a lot about this magic L shape, as Lisa McCormick likes to call it, and understanding the chords in the key using that shape. Happy playing, have fun with this, and I'll see you in the next lesson.